Hello, queer America. It is two queers in the truck time, and it's Christian and I, Jenny-Jaymes, Gunn, Christian Cano, at a little dancing queen for those big old queens out there, especially the Republican Party in Texas.
That's right.
My gosh, what? I guess we talked about this on the other show, and I'm just going to repop on it for just a second while I set my timer. But I think the reasons June is feeling so long is the impending doom of the obvious Supreme Court ruling that'll probably come at the end of the month, because the last day for them to hand down a ruling before the summer break till October is June 28th. Rachel, when she came on the show, the other show, she told us that's probably the date when they're going to rule and slip out of town, right before the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And I think just the heat, I think all the mass stupidity, we're starting to come out of this pandemic era, and it's shifting more to an epidemic and seasonal stuff, and just we're learning how to live and navigate with COVID. And I think people are starting to realize, hey, we got to go out to the world, and there's this weird transition back into more in-person stuff. And I think it makes things more exhausting, because one of the conveniences of a virtual world, whether it's virtual meetings, stuff like that, as obviously there was no commuting, there was no driving, I didn't have to shower as much. There was so many advantages to living in a very virtual world, that so many things that were exhausting before now are feeling extra exhausting because we're out of practice for 2 years. Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of things going on right now in the world, and even in the United States. I mean, leaving the political chicanery to the side. And so I think months like this, where you got one part of America that's hyper fixated on the LGBT community, and then you make it International Pride Month, and there's just this hyper pushback, as we just saw in Texas. And in fact, that's actually our first topic. Again, how you doing, Boo?
Good. You got me depressed now.
Yes. Well, the good thing is there's an ironic deliciousness with this first topic. Okay. If we can't be idiots, we'll just leave. The Texas GOP just took a big dump again, and is talking about secession, has booted out the log cabin Republicans of Texas out of their party, put a whole platform of anti-LGBT, but specifically anti-gay messaging into their Texas platform. And then also, too, they do the usual. When the Texas Republicans are really getting their panties in a wad, of course, they start talking about secession, which they can't do, just so everybody knows. Since Reconstruction, that was taken out of everything. So, they've never been able to secede, but, some obscure libertarian wacko, hey, let's go by some law that happened in 1845, and Texas can secede or whatever, and it just goes up the idiot food chain of conspiracy theories. And so secession always happens every time Republicans in Texas don't get their way on something. And boy, they definitely stepped in it and got their panties in a wad over the weekend with that. I guess they seceded from the log cabin Republicans. Maybe that's what they're really doing. I don't know. I mean,
it's crazy.
Bizarre.
It's
one of the reasons I picked the Dancing Queen, because you and I both grew up in Texas. Yeah. We both know Texas culture as good as anybody. And conservative men in the South are big old queens anyway.
They sure are.
I mean, big old flame queens. I mean, they just, love the pomp and circumstance. And the more performative they are, the bigger, the more the queen. I mean, we pick on our favorite in the closet homosexual Lindsey Graham all the time. Lady Lindsey is just over the top on their emotions.
And Ted Cruz is just if you did not know he was married to a woman, and all you did was hear him talk, and the way he talks, and the way he was at a bar, we would go, he's gay, isn't he?
Yeah, like it's a weird universe if Ted Cruz wasn't gay. So, I mean, there are like
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, there are showbiz marriages, which his clearly could be. Mm-hmm. I mean, no reflection on Mrs. Cruz, but the chances of a gay marriage,
I wouldn't be surprised if Cruz is caught cruising one day.
Oh, I think he probably has in a few parks in Dallas and other places in Texas. You damn well know that private.
That's when he goes by Raphael.
Yeah, Raphael, the Latin lover. Also he becomes way more ethnic instead of Ted.
That's right. Yeah,
with a little rose in his teeth or something like that, a little chop. But he's probably got 2 condos down in Cancun when he's got a family condo, and then next resort over, he has a pool boy condo.
Yeah, remember like last month he was on video. He was flying out of Wisconsin or something, and he got into like a shouting match with the ticket agents and stuff. And it almost you want to say, what were you doing there?
Going up to the cheddar state to get some download cheddar. He's a cheese aficionado.
That's right.
Certain kinds of shaped brats too.
That's right.
But I mean, they are known for their brats. I mean, little Milwaukee beer, little Schlitz.
Little Schlitz.
But when I first saw the news, I don't know how you reacted. I laughed the first time I saw it come across the Twitter scape. And of course, gay Twitter of course is just dragging Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely not that it's that hard. I mean, Texas stays in the news for that reason.
They did.
But there was definitely no mercy. I mean, there's no sympathy for log cabin Republicans. I mean, it's like,
well, the one thing, kind of like you, when I saw that, I was like, what? And then I was like, I'm not surprised. And then there was a part of me that was kind of giddy because they're so crazy. And that is what starts to turn people off. Either way, right? Either way. Whether you're talking defund. Yeah.
Sleeping with the Enemy, the Julia Roberts movie, kind of a B movie. It was okay. I think it was Julia Roberts who was in it. Mm-hmm. So, obviously the log cabin Republicans are Julia, and then the abusive husband is the overall GOP of Texas, and how she had to fake her death and escape away and all that kind of stuff.
But I do think it puts a lot of, I think someone like Ted Cruz is going to agree with it. I mean, you would expect that, Dan Patrick, but I do think like someone like Abbott, he's going to be asked, what do you think of this? And he's going to have to come out and say, and I do believe, we didn't say this on our coffee show, but within the Tejano Hispanic Latino community, they're not as concerned about LGBT things as they are about abortion things. You know what I mean? And so it's just the culture is more like, just don't talk about it. What else? It depends on what generation you are, and so forth. But for many of our families, I don't know any. I mean, my family's huge. I don't know any Hispanic Latinx family that doesn't have like a gay person in their family, and they're usually very accomplished. And so I don't think this is going to rub.
I don't know a Hispanic family or a Tejano family that doesn't have a drag queen in their family.
I was going to say that too.
I haven't seen it.
Yes.
I mean, you know Tejano culture a little better than I do.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm thinking about in San Antonio, everyone has Big Gay Al. Drag queen in their family just flaming. I mean, there's some little meathaw right now that's just already sneaking in his mom's closet, trying on the heels that are too big for him.
That's right.
And feeling pretty, and it just I've never not seen it. I've never not seen it.
That's why I think this is going to really backfire.
I think it's going to backfire because they look like bullies. They look like dicks because these guys, these gay Republicans, are Republicans too.
Yeah.
And so I think what a dick move, especially to do it in Pride Month, which I think was intentional.
Yeah.
The next topic, and this one's a funny one. This one's really actually funny. So there was this trans woman down in Florida that was kind of doxing a pro-Trump woman in the main drag of St. Augustine, which is kind of a tourist town. This woman was carrying around a big old Trump 2024 sign, and they were getting into it. And one of the trans woman's friends was recording this. And the main part of the story is they were going down the street, and then this guy jumps in. This guy's name is Todd. Actually, his full name is Charles Todd Gwynn, because as Twitter goes, there's always somebody looking and investigating everything. Yep. He's a 51-year-old magician, pro-Trump idiot. And he jumps into this thing, gets in between the trans woman and the female MAGA, and takes over. And he starts, shouting transphobic things. And of course, this trans woman is just firing right back. Like she's a rapid fire. She's set for rapid fire comebacks. Anyway, there's a short exchange, and then he said something about what her job was, and she's a sex worker. She says, "Babe, I make more on my mattress in one day than you make in a whole month." And of course, come to find out, he was a low-life magician that's not successful. But the best part of this whole story is, how Republicans are talking about groomers. This guy's wife, this guy's 51 right now. In 2017, he married a barely 20-year-old young woman that just graduated high school in 2016.
Okay.
And so most likely, there's a good chance that he's probably had this eye on this girl for a while. Yeah. Kids magician, kids party. Anyway, comes from Southern Georgia. And is just hilarious. And but the best part of the video is, so when he finds out that she's a sex worker, he goes off on a rant about sucking dick. And I mean, he starts pointing the finger at this gentleman, goes, "You suck dick for a living, you suck dick, you suck dick, you suck dick, you suck." And my question is to you, to put out to the universe, what kind of straight man repeats the word sucking dick with such enthusiasm? I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 times in a row. I mean, not to mention the creepiness of his marriage and the Walmart that she's wearing and the Facebook photos and the fact that this dude, he's a year younger than me, but he looks like every bit of late 60s, rough. Like, been worn on him. But the whole thing that I found most interesting was how enthusiastic he was ranting in a public area in front of restaurants and bars. People's walking by, and all they're hearing is him yelling, "Sucking dick, sucking dick, sucking," like just a rapid fire deal. Yeah. What kind of straight dude does that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean, he's so comfortable talking about sucking dick.
Yeah. It's projection.
I mean, I think the only kind of magic tricks he probably does really successful is making weed appear.
Yeah, he's
reappear and rapid.
He's doing some tricks.
I think so. He's not hiding a rabbit underneath there. I mean, the jokes are endless. I mean, and he's from Southern Georgia, probably not too far from our good friend MTG. That's right. Got the gay, not gay staffer now, and I just wonder what they're putting the Republican water in rural Georgia. It's getting wacky down there. But I mean, the video is just unreal. It is. And of course, it's making its way all over Twitter. This guy getting immortalized. The person that's posting all this that was not involved directly with the deal, but has done all the doxing and stuff, has got his full name on there, got a picture of his Facebook profile, got a picture of his wife on there, his child bride. I mean, she is just drug him, and it's just it's actually great because that's what we need to do. These kind of wackos, we need to make them famous. Yeah, and show if you don't want to be known as somebody like him, you might want to rethink your political affiliations. If you really say that you love the LGBT community, well, the last thing you want to do is seeing some dude melt down yelling about sucking dick.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I mean, you know, it just is so bizarre that people will have a financial conservative and like, well, you're still in the wrong party, but besides that, so your financial conservatism overwhelms your humanity. That you've got all this crazy hate. You got people writing crazy manifestos about replacement theory and just shooting people up, which is bizarre in itself. Plus, anyway, if we're going to replace people, we're not going to import people in. We're just going to turn people like the magician gay with the gay agenda.
Exactly.
I mean, we'll just hit
the great replacement theory is
contagious. We'll just give them all the gabies. We'll spread around COVID. We'll just drop. I mean, they love
sprinkle them.
We'll just take little bits of rainbow unicorn dust and just drop it into the air system. So clearly, they believe it's contagious in the lifestyle. So we'll just convert them all. We'll do the reverse conversion, and they'll be singing down music. Maybe they'll get happy. I don't know. Maybe their sex life will improve, or at least they can videotape it and put it on the internet like Madison did. But it's just crazy. I don't know. Have you ever seen a straight guy just go off and yelling, sucking dick like a rapid fire? Can you think of one?
Most straight guys, like my brothers, for example, they if you're straight and you're like, just like if you're gay and you're comfortable with who you are, if you're straight and you're comfortable with who you are, regardless of what, you know, your orientation is, you only do that when you're not comfortable with, you know what I mean, with things. Right. I mean, there aren't like you and I have friends that are not LGBTQ, and they will say, you know, that's your business, you know, that's you, you know, and it's, you know, I mean, it's people who are like that, like you're talking about, in like the crazies in Texas that were at that convention. Those are the people that I think most normal mainstream people look at and go, there's something little going on there. You know, we all say that in our families. You know, the crazy uncle is usually the one that's cheating on his wife or something. You know,
sooner or later.
Exactly.
Let's crop up. I mean, there's gonna be some reunion when we found out Uncle Bob has a fetish for lacy underwear and is just married his hog or something. But on that note, we've got a quick break and then we'll come right back.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
And just to segue into the next deal, it is bizarre because you never see a peace gay man going off about vaginas. Like you never see a gay man having a meltdown about you ain't passing. Like they just start going off. Like you never see that even with the wackiest of us. So it's a very bizarre thing. Like you said, I think this dude definitely has some magic tricks that he still needs to accomplish, including finding his dignity, because I think that disappeared a long time ago when he started in pedophilia.
So what happened with the? Go ahead. Go to the.
Go for it.
I'm sorry. No, what happened with the MAGA lady?
Oh, she became less important because this guy was more optimistic. Right. She was just spouting the normal stuff that you would see at any one of his special fundraisers. Which is bizarre, by the way, that it started with the video. The first video, because it was a series of two of them. The first one concentrated on the MAGA ladies. They were yelling at each other going down the street in this crowded area, touristy area of St. Augustine. But how bizarre is it that, even though this is off topic, is that she's just running around with this huge sign. I mean, a good sized sign, almost as tall as she is, that has Trump 2024 on it. She's just running through a major square with a Trump sign. That's probably at least 4 or 5. That's bizarre.
Yes.
there is literally no Democrat I would ever carry a sign for like that.
You don't see us doing that.
It's just like
when our person loses, they lose, they move on. We go to the next person. I've never ever seen. Exactly. Yeah, I've never seen.
Even with Obama, when he left the White House in January of 2017, like, we love you. She ain't president anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy hearing from him, but I'm not going to go around holding Obama signs or I mean, it's just there's something mentally, I don't know how to explain it. And I wish someone would write it. Maybe there is a book about it. These people that still have the Trump signs out in the front yard, the people who have the Trump flags, the people that are still, even the people who are still wearing the MAGA, even though I know MAGA is not really Trump anymore, it's like a movement, it's kind of, it's weird.
It's a weird Kool-Aid drinking, weird modern cult that we'll never understand because we're not that brain dead.
Yeah.
So moving on, the felon, the rhino hater, and the gun lover. Eric Greitens, I'm not sure if I don't really care if I'm pronouncing it right, once tried violent offender that is going to be retried with a special prosecutor, former governor of Missouri, and I think he's running for Senate now, just produced a campaign video that's just bizarre. I mean, it's bizarre for Republicans. It shows like this group of camo wearing men that look like they're almost like quasi-military. And they've got these battering rams and they've got firearms strapped to them. And he's got this huge overcompensating gun, which obviously is a compensation for a very small PP. And he's going off about fake Republicans, more or less. And then this like SWAT team kicks in and batters open this door in this like cabin looking place. And he steps in with a little bit of smoke and, real Queenie, real performative.
Yeah.
And got this like, I think it's like a really heavy armored shotgun or something. I mean, the gun's so ridiculously big. It looks like a rubber or something. Anyway, and so the crescendo of the commercial is him just busting in there, like he's gonna just go kill some criminals or get some red meat or something, and just bigger the gun, the bigger the orgasm. I don't know, but he's kicking in this door and he says it's rhino hunting season. It's time to get rid of the fake Republicans, more or less. And so it's an ad as a Republican, a former governor that had to resign in disgrace, that's running for office again, saying that he's going to, I guess, hunt and shoot fake Republicans, or as they're called, rhino, Republicans in name only.
Yeah,
people don't know what the acronym is. And for one, he's invoking this terroristic. I'm going to hunt down other Republicans, which I don't understand. If you're running for office and you're wanting to
get the nomination for Republican, right? Is that what he's trying to do? The Republican nomination?
I believe so. I think they still haven't had their primary.
Okay.
But he's making this statement that
why would you alienate people that maybe he's hoping to get the MAGA vote?
What kind of campaigning, fundraising, bizarro, like, I don't get who he's listing.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm pretty sure independents and Democrats are going to donate to this guy.
Yeah.
He's an absolute wacko and a criminal.
Yeah.
The Republicans have got to be just sitting and going, oh, how in the hell do we get hit? How do we get out of this? I mean, Missouri's pretty wacko.
Yeah.
I mean, Missouri's got a lot of Texas in it. It's got some of the same personalities, just more meth labs.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just watch Ozark.
Exactly.
It's pretty accurate. It's not that far off, except for the show business part. But just, I mean, who are you soliciting when you're saying you're hunting your own party? I mean,
I think it is kind of humorous from us looking in.
Oh,
It is, yeah, it is funny to hear people like Trump, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, and even at one time, Madison, he's fallen off the earth now, Madison called Lady Maddie. It is kind of humorous to hear them call others rhinos as if though that's a bad word, because they're using it like it's a bad word, when these people have been Republican their entire lives. And so basically it's kind of arrogant. It's kind of a childish, arrogant thing. It's as if though Trump, he came into the Republican Party. And it's like saying, I came into the Republican Party and now everything is, Republicans all have to be like me. Right. And that is a very, that's what he does. And that's what they all do when they're saying rhinos, they're basically telling other Republicans.
He is trying to create a Republican Party in his own image. This kind of this Messiah, half general, MacArthur / Jesus character that it's like they're performing a part, whether, no matter who it is, this new breed of Republican Congress people to an a cast out Republican who now is trying to reboot their image, I guess, to be, which he doesn't need to prove that he's violent. He already has a violent history of domestic violence and child abuse. So he hit his son so hard, his child so hard, the kid has an abscess underneath his skin. He has domestic violence charges pending upon a special prosecutor from the federal government. Like this guy, when he says, I'm going to go hunt rhinos, I'm not so sure he's not like going, I'm announcing that my manifesto is, I think we may be seeing the first man shooter that's running for office. Like this dude is really serious about his violence. Not to make light of what he's done in his past, his recent past, but this is their best. This is, so I don't know if it's that they've killed off so many Republicans that they literally are running out of eligible, sane candidates, or so many people are leaving the party in droves that they're going, we need to put these extremists up here to bring them back. Like, that's going to work. Like there's somebody in some basement in some Washington, D.C. think tank going, I wonder if we just go really, really wacky. People will think we're so wacky that we're entertaining and they'll follow us anyway.
I guess, you're right. I mean, I've talked about this before. They have become, anyone who's running for office as a Republican now, they want the loudest, the craziest, the person who really can't get a job in the mainstream world. And so what they do is their job is to become an elected official and do that. And like I said, because they don't really have any other talents, they're not artists, they're not athletes, very few of them, they're not actors, very few of them, there's one or two. They're not entertainers, they're not, and so the only thing they have to become popular, so to speak, through social media or whatever, is to go into politics. That's
in the case of Bobbert, MTG, and Nelson Cawthorn, most of their career, some of them don't even have much of a career, but most of their adult life, they've been absolute failures. And so they're drawing, and this Missouri guy, the same way, he's been absolute criminal, dragged to society, just an absolute embarrassment for Missouri. And he's just like doubling down. He's just like, I know I'm being accused of all this violence, but I'm going to go on the TV and the internet and I'm going to project my violence. I'm going to tell you, I am violent. I'm going to go hunt some rhinos. Like, what a bizarre hellscape the Republican Party has turned into. I know you and I are personally enjoying it because we just go, that's just the beginning of the end. And maybe they're just so desperate knowing that the days of white power is almost over. And so they're just throwing Hail Marys left and right, going, let's throw all this shit on the wall and see what sticks.
That's what it feels like.
It really feels like they're throwing darts blindly and hoping they may win someday. So recently, our president, Joe Biden, fell off. He had a little bike crash over the
I think it was Saturday or Friday or something.
He kind of popped back up and, for a bit.
He was in Delaware.
He did pretty good. And but I think what's funnier is how the Republicans are so making fun of it. Yeah, we saw Reagan falling up the stairs going on to Air Force One when he was president. And then during Trump's presidency, he fell more than once out golfing. And in fact, there's a great picture of his pot belly swinging in the air with him on all fours with a golf club in his hand, looking bewildered as he's like crawling around on the ground after falling. And, you know, I title this Falling While Golfing. I'm going, at least Biden can ride a bike and stay upright for the most part. And he's older than Trump. Yeah, I would pay money to see Trump do this for me. I would love to see him on a bike, or most likely one of those clown tricycles, like like they ride in a circus.
Well,
I don't think Trump can ride a bike.
Oh, I know he can't. Yeah, he doesn't have the coordination. You could tell he doesn't have the height. Can you imagine him like rollerblading or ice skating?
Fuck, that's funny. I would have seen rollerblading.
Or playing tennis.
Well, he looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. You're like, oh, you know. And I'm not making fun because he's.
I would love to play dodgeball with him.
Oh, easy target. You talk about low hanging fruit.
Like just hide behind him.
I wouldn't want to play Junior because he's going to get coked up before the match.
Yeah, he's quick. He's skitsy.
I see all three of you. And you can do that. You're just getting all jacked up on Mountain Dew and cocaine.
Good going.
But can you imagine?
But
not doing anything athletic. I mean,
yeah, Jenny. When you're talking about the bike thing, when I saw that, the first thing I came out of my mouth was, I knew that they were going to make fun of him. That's what they do. Just like we, and to be fair, during Trump's eras, we were looking for every single thing to make fun of him. We were looking. Yeah, exactly. No, it wasn't exactly. It wasn't hard. And they've been making fun of the way he talks. That that they think he's like losing it. And I get it. They're making fun of that. That's their job, just to try to tear him down. But at the end of the day, I don't think people necessarily care. All they care about is, what are we getting done? Yeah, exactly. Like Barbara always says, how are we going to get gas prices down? Or
whatever.
And they're dropping, actually.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Did I snicker a little bit when Joe Biden biffed it on the bike? I did a little bit, just because. We watch those world's dumbest videos where you see famous people falling off bikes or falling off the stage, or whatever, because we're all sadists at a certain level, and we all like to see famous people do
we kiki
things. And we're all going to giggle a little bit.
Because we would laugh at ourselves when we fall off bikes, and I fell off a scooter last year in Key West.
Well, of course, I
still have the scars.
I'm sure you were completely sober. You weren't partaking of any beverages. But yeah, we've all done it. During the pandemic, I slipped on my wooden floor in the other apartment I lived in before this.
Oh no!
Was completely by myself. Went airborne. Didn't even have my phone in my hand. Laying in front of my back and hit my head. I was fighting to stay not pass out.
Yeah,
but after I realized I wasn't going to pass out, I started laughing because I was wearing my songs and I wasn't paying attention, and I came around the corner going too fast. A, for my age, and B, there's a wooden floor. I knew there was a wooden floor there. I've been living there a few months. Hadn't just moved in, and I've lived with wooden floors. And so I was thinking, that was really stupid. I'm glad nobody saw it. I kind of wish somebody was there in case I passed out, But if it was caught on video and it went viral, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have laughed too.
Yeah.
But the jackasses of the Republican Party are just like, oh, that's, his bike falls, and like sign he can't be president. I'm like, how many times Trump has probably fallen. I mean, and we saw it on golf courses. We saw the fact that he was huffing and puffing around the course, and and all that. Like we never saw him jogging during his presidency. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we saw George Herbert Walker Bush jog in his presidency.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a young spring chicken then. He was.
Obama played basketball.
Obama played basketball
all the time. Yeah.
Even Bill Clinton, he did stop off, had a few Big Macs on the way. He made sure there was a Big Mac on the course every time he was jogging. I remember when he was jogging in New York while he was president.
Jogged in to eat a donut.
And he slipped into a McDonald's and was like, ordered some fries and shit. And you look at the Secret Service, like, y'all want anything? And of course, Saturday Night Live, they had Phil Hartman doing the same thing, going, I need two Big Macs. And then, just brutalized him because they're equal opportunity on that. And it is friggin' fun at the end of the day. Stuff like that, you're not making fun of who they are. You're making fun of just the situation that one of the most powerful jobs in the world. And you're either falling off a bike, ordering some big old greasy cheeseburgers, whatever. It's got to be a little fun. You got to laugh a little bit. Like I laughed when they did that to Bill Clinton, so on and so forth. But we'll take a quick break and then we'll round this up towards the end. Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in the Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye-bye. And we are back with Two Queers in a Truck. And I've got actually the same topic twice for some reason, because I have another deal about the log cabin Republicans, which we're not going to cover twice because there wasn't enough material to cover it once, really. So I am going to skip to the sixth topic, then I'm going to make up a seventh. So the sixth topic actually is fundraising is not fun anymore. Trump has been getting some serious play on legal inquiries on his fundraising techniques post-presidency. Some people have said, including a former prosecutor in the Watergate hearings, that this may be the one that is the most actionable, the most provable, because there's receipts. And some of the lawsuits may come from Republican funders. Yes. Because there's major concern on how and why and what he's actually using the money for. Because he's spending the money, even though he's not filed for running for an office, which violates campaign laws. There's a whole bunch of things that are going on with this. And I'm sure the wording of his solicitations, I saw one over the weekend that Donald Jr. actually put up about some kind of golfing trip that you can sign up for, and you got to pay a certain amount of money, and you get to pay at Mar-a-Lago with Trump and all this. But I do have to mention this, even though this is off topic. The picture they used looks like somebody that's never really used the internet before. It's a group picture, but it only has Trump in it. So they've centered it all the way off to the left of the picture in the frame, and you can tell they cut off the rest of the group. And it's just got Trump standing there grinning like an idiot. Like, it's unflattering. I mean, not that there's a really good picture, but there's some that are better than others. But the way they took the picture of the group, if you framed the whole group in there, it would be cool. But in the ad, they cropped the whole group out.
So they just wanted
angles makes his beer gut, his pus gut, look 4 times bigger than it is. And it's a horrible angle, and they're trying to solicit people to buy these packages. I'm like, dude, at least the MyPillow guy. That's not the most attractive human being in the world. He does look good in his ass. He looks as good as he's going to look. He does maximize, good angles to sell as many of those overpriced, cheesy pillows.
He just got dropped by Walmart. The last big one.
They probably don't like to fund wackos. But anyway, getting back to the fundraising ain't fun anymore. I don't know what you've read on it, and I'd be curious about your take, especially for one, because you've run for political office twice and know a lot about it. But two, just what kind of trouble could he be in?
I don't think because of what we know about Trump and Republicans in general, I don't think he cares about the FEC, the Federal Election Commission. The way their strategy is just, even if they investigate him, even if they file whatever, they would drag it on, and eventually the FEC would just drop it, But I do think what you said, that I wish that Democratic attorney generals, like here in North Carolina, like other Democratic attorney generals in other states, I wish they would do like what Republican attorney generals do every time. Like Ken Paxton sues Biden for every little thing. You know what I mean? He wastes taxpayer money just to sue Biden. I wish that our attorney general here in North Carolina would sue Trump for deceptive trade practices. And I think that they, like you said, they would have a very serious, all it's going to take is one person who is upset that maybe donated $5 and is going to say, hey, I was misled, And I do think that that's what he has to be careful, is that all it takes is one of those donors to sue him, or even a city district attorney to sue him for deceptive trade practices, because that basically they said, my understanding that according to the hearing, that some of that money was supposed to go to the legal, whatever, and none of it went. There was no such thing. So, but if you want to give Trump money and you're that dumb, people do it.
Oh, damn. These golf packages, and just like that Proud Boy that got shut out of that one rally and thought he was an invited guest. Of course, he got if you give us your email address sort of thing, you could win a free ticket, VIP ticket, but he read it as, I'm a VIP. Obviously, if you're supposedly a straight Republican that calls yourself a Proud Boy.
Exactly.
I mean, the disconnection between reality and yourself, I just can't help you. Like there's there's just not enough therapy in this world to help somebody like that. But in general, if you're buying golf packages to go to Mar-a-Lago and hang out with Donald Trump on this golfing experience, I know I'm okay with presidents making money post presidency. I mean, the Clintons, Obama, Bush, they've all made millions of dollars since they've left the White House. W, not so much. I mean, A, he didn't need to, and B, a lot of people really were clamoring for his book. I mean, he would have been written in.
He's got art.
I mean, he does have some art. Yeah. He was a really good manager of the Rangers too. Yeah. But anyway, he's what I call a drool cup Republican. He's actually the kind of person at a certain time in his life, he probably would have been a donor to Trump, actually. Like, hey, buddy, I know we can use some of that trust fund money to help our friend Trump, but I mean, because the Bush family and the Trump family are enemies, because clearly even the Bush family realizes Trump is problematic, and they had Cheney. I mean, that was like W's mentor / real president.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Cheney family is more well liked and more well thought of. That's cool.
Yep.
I
agree.
I mean, you talk about a bar. Oh, and so the sixth topic was actually supposed to be about our friend Bobbert from Colorado.
Okay.
So the Twitter, she's been drugged several different things, including this week. So the two big ones is one, that clearly she's been in ads before Congress.
Yep.
But after she was married and after she had kids, she was a sex worker.
Yes. That's what they're alleging.
There's one big, well, I mean, they got like 1-900 like advertisements and stuff like that. So it is clearly her.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. The second interesting thing is that there is a 2021 church service where she is a guest pastor, also soliciting campaign funds while she's doing her sermon, and even at the end, making it very clear there was more of a campaign than serving the Lord.
Yeah,
and so she's being drugged for both of those, and especially heavily on a Twitter page called Fire Bobbert.
Yeah,
and so they're hammering her. I mean, they're trying to dox her like they did with Cawthorn.
Yeah,
this is being organized by Republicans that are done with her, and so they're methodically going through the list of the most problematic Republicans and trying to get them fired.
Yeah,
and I think it's great. It's the most funny Karen moment in Republican history as former and current Republicans are going after people in primaries that they need to cull the herd, which I remember in 2019, I predicted this. So with the MAGAs and the Trumpites, I said at some time, because we are talking about the party of dirty tricks invented by Nixon. I mean, and Reagan did it too. They were both evil, bad, and Cheney, of course. I mean, like the king of dirty tricks and lies. But we can all remember when Colin Powell had that vial of fake chemical warfare stuff testifying to Congress of why we need to invade Iraq. And that whole scam thing, I mean, not Colin's best moment. But clearly, when Republicans go mafia style, Robert is in the crosshairs now. And of course, she's one of their dumber ones, definitely. I think it's very interesting that they're pulling up her sex work, which they clearly knew about. I mean, they do. They were very, very aware of her history, including the bowling alley shenanigans as well. And her husband is a sex criminal and pedophile. But what did you think when you? I don't know if you've seen any of this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Especially the sex work stuff.
I saw when they originally had released what they said, that group, the same group that went after Madison, that apparently a family member, one of the Koch brothers, someone in their family, told them this, that she was a sex worker, that's how she met Ted Cruz, which is why Ted Cruz donated $200,000 to her campaign. And then he was like her political advisor, so to speak. And so that insinuated that Ted Cruz had an affair with her, which obviously should piss Ted Cruz's wife off. You would think you would ask that question. And then they said, and then she has hired an attorney, and they said they're going to go after them with every ounce of the law, make it real, they're going to, and she said, because she doesn't want anyone else to have to go through this. It's misogynist, it's sexist, and all, she's now suddenly concerned about, how people are treated. And this group, that PAC that has that, I thought it was brilliant. What they said was, if we hear something that's not true, we'll take it off. And they've actually made some adjustments to what they've said, and what he said was, he would love for them to come after, he would love for her to come after them legally, because in a civil suit, they can depose her. And he said they would love to put her, to be able to talk and depose her. So can you imagine sitting there going, talk to us about, were you ever a sex worker? I mean.
Oh, it's just wild because, you've got both, the Republican Party in Colorado coming after. You've got national Republicans. You have this whole Fire Bobbert movement, just like what happened to Maddie Cawthorn, and somebody that was deeply ensconced in the Western slope Colorado politics, which is very conservative part. The Western side of Colorado is very Republican, and the Eastern side, where Denver, Colorado is, and all that, is very, very, very progressive. Of course, the major population centers are on the east side of the state. The west side is the hellscape.
The Gaston County.
I mean, not even that.
It's the Union County of.
Like there's literally no reason. At least Union County is kind of pretty, the western slope of Colorado is dirt, rocks, and a few.
Hey, Jen, don't you think this is a pre whatever? This is like a tip of the iceberg. What happened to Madison Cawthorn here in North Carolina? What's happening to her in Colorado? Eventually, it's going to start happening in Texas and in Florida, because you know that congressman with the eye patch, he was harassed at the convention by the radical Proud Boys and those same people that passed this platform. Eventually, these individuals are going to turn on them, and eventually, Republicans in Florida are going to turn on DeSantis. And so, I always remember when you told me after Trump was elected, and you said the people who are going to beat Trump are other Republicans. I remember you said something. Remember you said something like that? It is coming true. Yeah,
including our former co-host Jeff.
Yeah.
No, Trump can't lose. And
I remember that.
He was a libertarian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sounded very Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that will never happen and all that. Let me tell you one thing. I make a lot of predictions, and about 95% of them come true.
I know, it's spooky.
Humans don't change their nature too much. And I just had this discussion with a friend on the phone tonight, because we were talking about a different subject, but I was talking about human nature. So one of the reasons I understand and can make predictions is I understand human nature, because I've been in marketing direct sales for so long. Yeah. And you almost get a free degree in human psychology and human nature. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm a people watcher. I love watching people, whether it's sitting at a park and just watching how people interact and things like that. I think humans are so nature in both their kookiness, and their loving spirit. I think there's a beautiful mix in almost everybody, except for maybe Trump. But I think human life is so amazing and so fragile. Mm-hmm. But I also know the nature of beasts. Like there's certain you just don't turn your back on, because you know sooner or later it's going to bite you. But and the Republican Party, again, since Nixon for sure, it turned into this mafia style, terrorist style, win at all costs. And here's the thing: a little loud, a little wacky is adorable to a certain group of people. Yeah. But that kind of behavior, A, always runs its course. Yep. And B, when it turns around to bite the organization or group or whatever in the butt, it always does. Like Jerry Falwell and Liberty University. Yep. So on and so forth. We've seen this in different careers, but especially politics. Yep. The more alt-right fascist the group is, the more they're going to turn on each other. Just like the Nazis did. Man, they were those Nazis, when they got captured by the Russians or the Americans, they started singing and just drawing out maps. And I mean, like Hitler's, got a big old X where he
is right here.
He's right down the road, hanging right.
He's
the windmill and a giant.
Right before he kills himself.
Go get him. Go get him. Like, Republicans.
I never liked him.
He's a dick. He's just such a
exactly.
He only has one testicle. And Trump the same way. Like, he ran into that little White House bunker that the other presidents didn't even know there was a bunker. That one time when the BLM protests were in Washington.
Oh, that's right.
In that bunker. Remember that? The meme around that showing all the presidents, including the Republican, W, sticking their head down into a hole going, we didn't even know this existed. You must be a real coward. But I think these kind of people always turn on each other. I mean, they just, it's their nature.
You remember back when Hillary was running, and there was the Hillary and Bernie thing going on with each other, and they said Republicans, and also even our former co-host on the other show, Jeff, said Democrats eat their own. You remember? Mm-hmm. But we don't swallow each other like they're doing.
Yeah, literally.
They I mean,
Little-
they are
little nods
they're
to
more
the
they
GOP,
are
all
more
Catholic people.
they are more concerned. They're angrier at rhinos than they are Democrats,
Oh,
and
100%.
I
Always have
enjoy
that.
hearing them.
And-
You know?
and Republicans have always, one of the reasons that Reagan
Yep.
had the Reagan rule about
Mhm.
thou shalt not talk bad about other Republicans,
Yeah.
the reason he had to do
Mhm.
that was because of the infighting.
Yeah.
And so that tells you that existed 40 years ago, it existed
Yeah.
50 years
Mhm.
ago. That anytime you get a group of conservative fascists together,
Mm-hmm.
change the, the name of the party or the country or the time. But
Yep.
conservatives will, fascists that we've
Mhm.
had throughout history, dictatorships, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
always implode. They
Yep.
can't
Mhm.
sustain because all their politics is about division, violence,
Mhm.
scaring
Yep.
the crap out of people to keep themselves in power.
Mhm.
Now you need me, almost like a messiah complex, but
Mm-hmm.
way more vicious of a mass age.
Yeah.
You change the names,
Mm-hmm.
but you can insert the same quotes to political leaders
Mm-hmm.
and kings and dictators throughout history, and it would be just as believable if Gaddafi said it or Reagan said it
Yeah.
or whomever. They all say the same thing to keep their butts in power as long as they can.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, that's why you have revolutions and rebellions and Islamic Springs and everything else. Is sooner or later all that crap wears thin, and people finally go, "I'm over this. What do we need to do?"
Yeah.
Including people that are supposedly loyal.
Mm-hmm.
But my contention is there's never such thing as a loyal conservative. Haven't seen one.
Mm.
I mean, the people that dropped Nixon into Greece were Republicans.
And that also goes with conservative families. Conservative families will turn on each other in a dime.
Oh, yeah. All you got to do is come out of the closet and you'll find out how
Exactly.
your conservative family will like, oh, see you, log cabin Republican.
You don't find a lot of. I know we're out of time, but you don't find a lot of the kids that end up hating their parents or have a terrible time or whatever are kids that come from conservative evangelical kind of families. They're the ones that have this with their family. I haven't spoken to my so-and-so in 20, 30 years. Everyone else, we cannot have arguments with a family, but we still talk to our family, and so it seems like it's the real conservative ones that have that.
Or they write a tell-all book like Barry Trump did.
Yes, that's right.
Drop each other. If it's a famous family, they write books.
That's right.
If it's a poor or middle class family, we just don't talk to those family members because they're too toxic.
That's true. Yeah.
As somebody that's estranged from one of my parents, there's nothing to discuss. And the conservative Christianity, which Christianity pretty much is set up to turn people against each other and develop that type of hate. I mean, when you preach hate, whether it's from a presidential podium or a pulpit,
it eventually
it's like a bank account. It's like a karma bank account. You're going to withdraw and over withdraw.
I agree.
Eventually, you're going to be getting bounced checks of karma. It always happens that way. And you're seeing it happen. And I think because the Republicans are pushing so hard because of their fear of being overtaken by
they see
people, that they've gotten to a level of desperate that's making them do things out loud and push so hard against the inevitable. They know they're going to lose in the long run.
Yeah.
But they are so desperate to hang on to power. It's like they're just clawing. And they're going to claw each other. It's going to be fun to watch.
I mean, you and I've said this. I know we got to end, but you and I've said this all the time. The MAGA people that live out in the rural areas, if they can only live in the rural areas, you could not put them in a city, they would survive. Whereas we, city people, we can live out in rural areas. We can live basically because we've learned how to adapt, how to pivot, as you like to say.
Yeah.
They can't. they can't pivot, and that's going to be their downfall.
Well,
They're going to be the Neanderthals.
Our old friend, the Dirty Santa. He comes from some, incestuous, cousin-loving,
dysfunctional
hillbilly town somewhere that, he's probably pretty normal looking for that area. But here, and his buddies that were traveling with him, they look like the extras from the new Deliverance movie or something. You talk about, they didn't even make the cut to make it on the Duck Dynasty show. Mix in a bar of soap or body wash or something. Wash them clothes, man. Like, I kept enough of a distance, A, with this COVID, but B, just, wow. But I still caught a brief shifted a little bit out there in that square. But anyway, we have ran out of time of making fun of wackos, which there's plenty more for next week. I hope that you join us.
There's always something.
Here's the truck. There's always something. That's the good thing. The Republicans write this show.
Exactly.
But everybody have a great week. Make sure it's going to be hot. Drink some water.
Yes.
And
our Miller Lite. Happy Pride Month.
Especially dancing queens of the Log Cabin Republicans in Texas. Bye, queens.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. It's a super hot first week of summer. And enjoy Pride Month. Happy Pride to everybody at the GOP party in Texas.
Happy Pride.